Good evening. My name is Peter Olkers. I'm the Vice Chair of the Needham Conservation Commission. I'm sitting in for Janet Bernardo. I'd like to open the meeting of Thursday, February 24th, 2022. Before I begin, there's a preliminary comments. As a preliminary matter, this is Peter Olkers, Conservation Commission Vice Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Stephen?
Here.
Artie?
Here.
Janet?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Clay?
Here.
And then we have a couple of attendees today. And I do have a list.
Hey, Peter, could we make an announcement? It sounds like some people may be expecting a certain article or some articles to be presented tonight, is what I'm seeing possibly right here. And so if some articles were pulled and not going to be presented that were originally thought to be, could we announce what are the only articles we are going to hear?
Okay, yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable. So just for the benefit of people who are in the attendees, who came because of the announcement that we'd be having hearings. Both of the hearings for notice of intent that were scheduled for this evening have not yet been continued officially. We'll need to vote on that, but they are not here and they're requesting continuation. So that would include the boat access project, and that would include the South Street landscaping projects, 631 and 649 South Street. So if you are here in order to participate in those hearings, we regret to inform you that they are not happening tonight, and likely will happen on March 10th, but we still need to confirm that. All right, so let me proceed then with the next step. Clay, you gave me a list. Okay, so
Peter, you might want to see Sue is in attendance. You might want to call her name.
Yes, I am here. I made it. I'm having trouble with technology.
Fantastic. So we have 5 people. Sue, you're here. Good.
Yes, I am.
All right.
So,
meanwhile, I looked up the list. So Phil from Beta, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Great. And then Tom from DPW?
Yes.
Excellent. So we're all hooked up now. All right. Good evening. This open meeting of the Town of Needham Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Needham Conservation Commission is convened by Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. The general public is allowed and encouraged to ask questions during the meeting when directed by the commission chair and through their use of the raise hand feature associated with the Zoom meeting app. Those that have questions or comments regarding a particular hearing will be called upon in the order they raise their hand, so please be patient. All supporting materials have been provided to members of this body and are available on the Conservation Commission website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each hearing on the agenda. I will introduce the applicant and/or their consultant to begin their project presentation. After they conclude their presentation, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment or questions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you, and please state your name before speaking. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. All right, so we have a number of hearings scheduled that we will need to open and then continue. So let me take care of that business first, and then we can move on to other business. First, I want to open the hearing for 631 South Street, DEP file number 234872. This is a continued notice of intent. The applicant has requested this be continued to March 10th. And has also been informed that if it's delayed after that point, they may need to refile. But I'm looking for a motion to continue until March 10th.
Move that we continue 631 South Street until March 10th.
Second,
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Stephen,
Aye.
Artie,
aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Janet,
Just giving the thumbs up.
thumbs up. All right, aye, Peter, aye. So that will be continued to March 10th. Open the hearing for 649 South Street, DEP file number 234874. This is associated with the first one, continued notice of intent. We'll also requesting to be continued to March 10th. Can I have a motion?
I move that we continue 649 South Street till March 10th.
Second,
Second,
all in favor? Stephen,
Aye.
Artie,
aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Janet, Peter, aye. So that passes too. Finally, I'd like to open the hearing for South Street and Dedham Ave boat access, DEP file number 234878. This is a continued notice of intent. They've also requested continuance to March 10th. Can I have a motion?
I move that we continue the Dedham Street boat access ramp till March 10th.
Second,
All in favor? Stephen,
Aye.
Artie,
aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Janet, Peter, aye. So that is also continued. So that's the hearing business. Now, there's a few other matters on the agenda. And so, Clay, what would you like to do first?
I hate to delay with having two members here for the other discussion items, but while we have a functional quorum right now, I'd love to get the OOC blacksmith before we lose Janet entirely. That Exhibit A was forwarded around at last meeting, was available before, and the discussion items or the special conditions that were discussed were requiring the test pit, since this was a special kind of circumstance with not having the test pits done previously, as well as having a monitoring period of 2 years on the restoration plantings.
Very good. So, so this has all been approved and people didn't vote on it, but it was, there were no problems with this in the last
Correct.
meeting. So,
The hearing was closed and there was no additional materials requested outside of getting the test pit after the pre-construction site visit.
okay, very good. So we need a motion to approve the order of conditions for 33 Blacksmith Drive, DEP file number 234883.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Stephen,
Aye.
Artie,
aye.
Sue,
Can I vote? Do I have to vote on that? I have listened to the recording, but I haven't signed a Mullen form. Should I just stay out of this? Do you have a quorum to vote? I wasn't there at the first part of the hearing, the January 27th meeting.
did this one, in order for the order of conditions, does she need to abstain?
I would argue, Sue, if you're comfortable doing it, we do have it in writing that you listen to the recording. We have that record as well. And I can send you something more formal to sign after the fact, but with your email, we do have it in written record that you have gone back and listened to the recording for 33 Blacksmith from the 27th.
So it's okay to vote?
Yes.
Aye.
Perfect. Janet? Aye. Okay, very good. So that is approved. And I assume at some point that will show up in a garage for us to sign.
Correct.
All right. So two discussions. One is Walker Pond Improvement Project, and the other is extending the DPW's maintenance. Does it matter? Yeah.
I would argue
Okay.
that Walker Pond should probably go first since we do have Beta here for that discussion.
Okay, good. All right, so Tom, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you have planned?
Yes, Tom Ryder with the Engineering Division. Phil Paradise is here from Beta, and he's going to, hopefully you have some plans that you can pull up, just quickly take a look. We've met with the Conservation Office to discuss our ideas of improvement for in order to improve the Walker Pond discharge areas. And we are going to be filing a notice of intent. We actually have filed a notice of intent, but this is just to get a little feedback before we button up the remaining pieces as we go through the public hearing. So I'll introduce you to Phil. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom. Just for the record, my name is Phil Paradis with Beta Group, a professional engineer, a lead accredited professional, and a certified professional in stormwater quality. And we've been tasked, we've been supporting the town in various aspects of the MS4 permit, and the town is very much ahead of the permit requirements. And one of the requirements, so as part of that activity, the town did a watershed management plan a couple years ago, and they divided up the town into 16 watersheds. So we will be doing this process 16 more times, but we did this watershed here. If I can share my screen.
Please.
All right, can you see this mass mapper map?
Yes.
So this is a portion of Needham that's part of watershed number 2, which includes a lot of the developed area. This is the Charles River around and Farley Pond, and then Walker Pond over here. So this is our first review of. So there's a couple of things we have to do relative to the permit. One is Needham is in the watershed of the Charles River. There's a TMDL for it, and as part of the MS4 permit, Needham has to comply with a 55% reduction in phosphorus load to the river from their MS4 system. So we did a an analysis of the watershed. Do you see an AutoCAD plan now?
Yes.
Okay, so we did an evaluation of each of the watersheds, each of the stormwater systems in this watershed to evaluate the load, the land use. Well, we did evaluate the land use and the soils classification to develop a phosphorus load for each watershed. And if you can see, we are in conjunction with this analysis, we understand, or we've come to understand that the Walker Pond is significantly impaired as well for phosphorus. So our first efforts will be to provide BMPs to mitigate phosphorus load into the Walker Pond. As part of the analysis for this Walker Pond area, we were given a recommendation to utilize filter strips around this watershed. So we did an evaluation of the locations that were shown on the plans, and we feel like Walker Lane, the filter strip along Walker Lane is the best kind of pilot project that we would want to do. So that's, and if you can see, there's a watershed here, and there's two sets of catch basins, a direct outfall to the pond, another set of catch basins for this watershed, direct connection to the pond. And surprisingly, when we were evaluating this, the neighbors said there's a significant amount of stormwater runoff that flows down Charles River Road, and ultimately just into a sluice right here at the corner of Mosley Ave into an incoming stream, and then it goes through a culvert directly into Walker Pond. So we've evaluated opportunities to provide some mitigation for that, and we've developed a plan. And we developed a plan that included the filter strip, infiltration trench. Here, let me get the, all right, did the plans come up now?
Yes.
Okay. So, so we developed a plan to include kind of this filter strip. We would cut the pavement, reduce the pavement, take out the curb, provide a stone diaphragm, and then a filter strip area 8 feet wide most of the time, and then an infiltration trench at the back. 8 feet of filter strip is not a significant amount of and it's very difficult to maintain sheet flow over grass areas or whatever without it channelizing. So that's why we added the infiltration trench. But we also added the infiltration trench to be able to retrofit the existing drainage pipe system. So we would install, we're going to take out the north catch basin here and here, and install a leaching manhole with a sump right here, so that we can, well, one of the reasons that there's a sump is, there's two different reasons for the sump. One is that we want to use this as pre-treatment for infiltration. This is all in A soils in this area. So we already have the catch basin here, and then we're going to have this sump. The second thing is we expect the groundwater to be fairly high. The pond is about 222, and the street grade is about 228. So by the time we put a swale and this whole thing, we're going to be, you know, and an additional 2 feet to high groundwater will be pretty close to that. So we made this as shallow as we could. So anyway, so when we met with Janet and other town officials, they recommended looking into cutting back the pavement. And so we did that. We reduced the pavement width from 24 feet to 22 feet. We also kind of reformed this the pavement here at the intersection. We cut out the previous curb is right here. So we're gonna remove the curbing and reset it out here. We're also gonna cut the pavement along this edge and allow sheet flow just to go over. We're gonna do a little opening here to allow the existing runoff to go right through the grass area as well. And then any overflow would get in this relocated catch basin here and be connected. So I don't know if, so the idea is to retrofit these and allow for as much infiltration as possible. When the flow becomes too great and the storage is high, it'll overflow, overflow back to the outflow pipe into the, and reuse the outfall pipe. And then flow back out to the river. I mean, to the pond. So that's part one. And the second option we had is, let me go back to the so as we saw in this, so this is the Walker Lane. So we have this open tunnel land here. We also discovered that there's a portion of land right adjacent to the Charles River Street here that is in conservation land. So we thought we could try to utilize this area. It was classified as A soils. So we've looked for other opportunities all within this whole watershed too. And there's no other opportunities like this where we could install a surface infiltration basin. So the system here would be to install a catch basin here, a special catch basin here, because there's a water line right under the gutter. So we would do it like an offset catch basin with a manhole cover and a sump. And then we would put, we would have another leaching manhole, and this would be, the inverts would be set so that the low flow would go to the infiltration basin, and the high flows would bypass that and out into the to the woods. So this would cut off approximately half of that watershed and provide some treatment. And also the longer flow will allow for additional treatment and runoff infiltration as it goes through the wetland system and back out to, this ultimately would come back out to the same place. But so yeah, so the wetland delineation is somewhere over here. We approximate the 50-foot line here and the 100-foot line here. We've allowed for a, if there's a future want to have public access, we left the area here to provide access to this, to the conservation land. So anyway, so we as Tom indicated, the town is very eager to get this under construction and as soon as it can. Unfortunately, we wanted to get your input before we submitted a notice of intent. So we apologize if this feels a little forced, but Janet, like I said, Janet gave us a lot of good information, and I think it's a well-conceived plan for the different things we're doing here to mitigate at least this portion of the watershed relative to phosphorus. In the future, we expect to provide retrofits for all the watersheds that have an outfall near or in A soils. And I think there's like 20 of them. So I think we'll be in a good place to provide a significant amount of reduction, both to the Walker Pond and the Charles River. With that said, I'll open it to any questions.
Wonderful.
Eagerly want your comments and thoughts.
Thank you. So since Janet had some input, I might start with her if she's able to talk with us. Janet, does this look like what you recommended? Or is Janet still there? She may have moved out of range. So let me start with other commissioners. Going down the line. Stephen, any questions or comments?
No comments.
Artie, questions or comments?
No, just that it's obviously, a thought out plan to make sure that it gives us the town the best possible solution, what's going on. And taking everything into consideration to make sure we protect what's happening with the wetlands around it. I'm good.
Sue, thoughts?
Yeah, is this the first phase? And then I mean, it sounds great. Then I think there was talk about if needed, there be treatment with the surface water. Is this just the first phase and then that's all you're dealing with right now?
Yeah, so there's a number of, so this is just one watershed area. We will provide for the Charles River Street. This provides like 2 inches of treatment. This system will provide about 0.7 inches of treatment, but that 0.7 gives you 90% phosphorus removal in this watershed. And also in the future, we will be looking at a number of other different opportunities. There is a field up here in a parking lot. We expect to do some subsurface infiltration system to convey there's a significant watershed area that comes down the street here and ultimately does the same thing, connects to the stream right at the outfall. So we'll be doing something there, and then we'll be doing something at many of these drainage systems up gradient here that flow into the stream, both here and here. We will be looking at putting treatment systems for those as well. So this, like you said, this is the first phase of just getting things done, getting started. But I think the next time we're before you, we should have probably, like I said, up to 20 areas where we can do some treatment. And I think ultimately we're going to use these leaching manhole type situations because that's something that I think the DPW is fairly comfortable in terms of maintaining. It's much easier to maintain a sump system than an open sediment basin or something like that. So so that's one of the reasons we added that manhole system instead of a sediment forebay for the open basin. So
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, I think, Sue, I think we've talked about Walker Pond in a lot of different contexts. And I think this is not a treatment of the existing situation there as much as a reduction in phosphorus inputs.
Okay.
But I think the treatment of the pond itself is going to be helped a lot by this. On the other hand, it's not geared to actually deal with the current situation with the algae and all that. But it's going to help it. Janet, do we have you?
Just for the record, she did just pass along a comment and it said that the plans look good.
Okay. All right. So it looks like the commission, and I also don't have any additional comments. So it looks like from the commission's point of view, this plan looks solid.
So I wanted to ask you one question, because I think Janet was asked about it when we were reviewing it together. So if you look at there's a number of trees. This is an area of pretty good wooded area. I mean, there's a lot of little trees, but some of these, so there's like 8 trees here within this area that we're gonna be taking down. We're gonna protect as many as we can around the edges here. And I think there's a good stand of trees, little trees along this edge. But she was, she mentioned that you would be eager to discuss kind of compensating for those trees. And
Yes. Yes,
So-
so when you propose that in a notice of intent, we require specific information about diameters and species of trees, because it's a difference if you're taking down Norway maples, if you're taking down something else. And then we do ask that you also come prepared with a planting plan, and it doesn't have to be super specific, but to provide locations where the replacement trees would go. And usually we like them to be in places within our jurisdiction, so within 100 feet. And it's traditionally it's been a 2-to-1 ratio, with the expectation that 75% will survive a 2-year period. Clay, is that all?
Generally, yeah, that's 2-to-1 2-year monitoring, correct?
Okay.
So that's what we're looking for. And if I mean, in many cases we've sent plans back if they didn't actually include that information. So that would be good if that's what you're proposing. I mean, obviously the commission would prefer large trees not to be taken down in projects like this. So there also has to be a pretty good argument for why that's necessary.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted a discussion. I didn't want it to wait to, but so obviously this is kind of the only area outside of the, outside of the 50-foot buffer in this conservation area. It's also in A soils. So although we would want to do this more frequently, I think this is probably the only one that's going to be done in this watershed. Having said that, I think there's an opportunity now that we've cut back the pavement to put a couple trees or, line these areas here with some trees. This is the 100-foot buffer for the pond here too. So if that's amenable, we're also going to take out the pavement, the existing sidewalk that goes to nowhere and serves very few people. We actually wanted to take out a portion of this pavement, but the fire department wants to keep.
Right.
So anyway, so if that's amenable, we'll add some trees in this area, as well as look at opportunities to put in some trees probably along the edges here.
Mhm.
If or maybe we can condition it, because I think there are trees there now. They're not of the same size, obviously, as these ones there, but they're bigger than I think we could plant economically there.
Mhm.
So I don't know how to balance that in this particular location.
Right, what's the standard? So Clay, typically the tree has to be above what diameter to be counted in terms of tree removal? Because you said there were a lot of small things in there.
So
as
we,
well.
we counted anything that was between 6 and 24,
Okay,
and then anything above 24. So I think we have one tree that's above 24 and 8 trees that are between 6 and 24.
very good. So given this new information, I'll do another round of comment from commissioners.
Just as you start to do that, I just had also one question. If there were any tree removals, any proposed trees to be taken down along the pond, or is it primarily here?
So there is one tree. So there is a tree line that's pretty close to the road. And that's why we made the width only 4 feet wide. We are cutting back the road 2 feet, putting in a filter strip. So we feel like we can do this. There is one tree here that looks like it would be impacted by we want to make sure that this drains down to the infiltration system, which is only between the two watersheds. So we want this fairly well graded. So we probably lose this tree, which is in the count. So there's 9 total, 8 of which are over here and this one right here. And then this is, if you know the area, this is open field all the way until you get to this tree. So we stopped the trench before we got to this tree.
Right, very good. So I'll go now, Commissioner Steven, do you have any thoughts about the tree?
Not really. I would prefer to plant them, I guess, next to the pond there in that area that we're reclaiming from the pavement. But otherwise, I have no comments.
Artie?
Same thing as Steve, essentially.
Okay, Sue?
I agree with what Stephen said.
Janet? Give your opportunity to respond, though it looks like we're not hearing you again. Yeah, so it does sound like, as a sort of preliminary, that we're definitely willing to hear what you sort of, I mean, I think you should go ahead and, oh, there, very good.
So yeah, so this is the area, and like I said, there's a number of little trees. I think we're gonna keep this one right here. I don't know, maybe it's this one. But obviously the big one in the middle, and you know, there's some of these little ones. So I'm not sure how much this will fill in once we, you know, take the big ones out of the middle. And it may fill in naturally. We could put some shrubs or, you know, I'm not sure how well we can plant more trees along this edge. Like I said, we're trying to stay away from this edge so we can have an access to the
Yeah, so I
back.
will say in certain difficult situations where people have a hard time finding place for trees, that we also allow for shrubs to be, in some cases, it's a 4 instead of a 2-to-1, it's a 4-to-1 replacement. So that might be something else you keep in mind.
Okay, I mean, we could do some shrubs along the edge here, so kind of hide the pond a little bit more, but
yeah,
I mean, it's really just going to be a 2 to 3 feet deep depression that, you know, is going to fill in with, you know, grasses.
things are going to grow in it anyway.
So, yeah, so it's not going to be, you know, obtrusive visually, but
Yes,
and
no, I'd be
it-
interested also to know what species are growing in there.
right. I'm not a tree guy, so there's some very tall trees, but
Yes, we don't have Allison here to sort of scope these out. All right. Any other comments? thoughts before we move on?
I will add that Janet sent a comment just saying that we can work with them on the new trees.
Okay. All right, so that's something that we can work together to figure out where they might go.
Right, right.
But it is good to have proposals first.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so we'll update this plan to include some locations for trees for our future discussion.
Okay, perfect.
In March. Anything else that you'd like to see that we may have overlooked, or would like to get this? Like I said, the town is wanting to construct this in the spring. So
yeah. Yes, I mean, I think it's definitely a worthwhile project, and we definitely support it and
excellent.
the goals of it. Yes, so thank you. All right, and so this is just a discussion. We don't need to make any action at this point. So
Right.
we can just
Thank you
move
for your
on.
time.
Thank you.
Bill.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. We should move on. So the plan is still up. There we go. All right. So the second discussion is about the DPW request for an extension of the order of conditions. This is a general maintenance DEP file number 234630. And Tom, you're here to sort of lead the discussion.
Yes, we're here requesting a 5-year extension for the permit. So basically, this is for maintenance of catch basins, culverts, park and rec walk areas, skating ponds, fire roads, anything to do with cleaning and maintenance. Obviously, with larger projects, we will be coming forward with either request for determination or notice of intent, but this is just to keep our maintenance program ongoing. Make sure that culverts are clean, or pruning of certain trees. So we would put together a notice, activity notice form that we would submit to the office, and then ask for your opinion on whether we can just move forward on it rather than doing a full-blown notice of intent for maintenance activities. But obviously, we are going to have other projects that will need to come before you with notifications for public hearing process.
Great. And that's all laid out in the order of conditions.
Yes.
Sort of the scale, which ones require hearings and which ones don't. And this is just a routine. Is this the first time it's been extended, or has this been every 5 years, basically?
I believe this is the second one, but I would probably just need to verify since I originally submitted it.
Okay, so this would be the second extension. Is that, Clay, do you have an idea?
I'm not positive on that, so maybe Clay knows for sure.
I don't definitively have that in front of me. I believe it's the second, and it was also extended via the COVID legislation that extended existing orders of conditions.
So it got the automatic extension anyway.
Yeah, just the length of that, I believe, is I think there's a set number of days that it extended all the permits, but it's essentially the year and a couple months that COVID had things kind of shut down and otherwise in special limbo.
Okay. So nothing is changing. This is simply status quo, the same,
right?
Same everything, just moves for another 5 years. I'll go to the commission. Any comments? Stephen?
No comment.
Artie?
No.
Sue?
No comment.
Okay, and it looks like Janet has left. So I have no comment either. So looks like there's no problem. I'll take a motion.
move that we extend the, is it what do we call this? The maintenance,
DPW
Nourishment.
general maintenance.
DPW general maintenance for a 5-year period?
A second.
All in favor, Stephen,
Aye.
Artie,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Peter, aye. All right, so it looks like you have your extension.
Thank you very much.
And that's also a form we're gonna have to sign.
Correct.
Okay, very good. So 2 pieces of paper need to be signed. But that should do it. Okay, very good. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, do you need me for anything else, or I can,
I think you're all done.
You're
all
good to
right. Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
weekend.
You
Thank
too.
you.
All right. Also on the agenda, so there's, let's see, the last thing was an item for spring public outreach and programming. So Clay, what were you looking for?
I guess we briefly mentioned it at the last hearing as well, but I guess we were hoping for a meeting that had all or most of the members present. We do have a quorum tonight, but Deb and I are working to increase our public outreach. And now that some of the COVID restrictions are relaxing, and as the weather gets warmer for spring, we're hoping to do more public outreach beyond the coyote presentation that we did kind of mid-pandemic there. And so we're gauging interest to see if there are commission members who are interested in assisting or leading either some kind of nature walk, a birding walk, a stormwater session. If anybody has interests and things that they would like to share, we would certainly like to work with you either individually or with the entire commission to bring that to fruition, especially as we approach Earth Day in April, transition of spring, when wetlands are often most active following the snow melt. So I don't know that we have or that we require anything of you guys tonight, but we definitely do want to put it on your radars and kind of have you start racking your brains if there's any interest that you have in pursuing something. We would love to start kind of putting the ideas down more tangibly and setting up dates and times to do that.
Yeah, I'm happy to do some sort of bird tour in May at Bridge Hill. We did that a few years ago, so and that seemed to work pretty well. I am a little bit restricted in terms of weekends, but we can work something out if necessary. Anyone else, just off the top of your head?
I think Allison and I were originally pre-pandemic. We're originally talking about the Rosemary Lake Trail.
So you can do it. You
But
can.
I've also, in the past, I know you know this, Peter, Charles River Peninsula. Actually, I piloted the program with Mike Francis. All those. Well, there were 20. Yeah. I didn't.
Yes, and a little bit of disrepair right now, unfortunately.
Say what?
Yeah, the bird boxes, the nesting boxes at Charles River Peninsula need maintenance, I think, right now. But yeah, that's
I
also a
used
good.
to do that.
Yeah,
If it's mowed though, if there's a trail, I wouldn't want to take anyone in the high grass.
No, they maintain the trail pretty well there. So I've done bird walks there as well, and that
Yeah.
works pretty well.
Yeah, I always love that.
Any other thoughts? Okay, yeah, Clay's not looking for necessarily concrete proposals at this point, but if you do have any ideas, I guess the desire is to have them just brought up at future meetings.
And
All right.
Deb and
Yes.
I are working on scheduling some kind of vernal pool walk, preferably probably out at Town Forest. There's a number of last spring we just heard a ton of activity around the time that the vernal pool species are starting to come out. So we're trying to get something on the books for end of March. Hopefully at that time we'll be in that nice phase where we can start finding eggs and some of the other things that appear before everything kind of rescinds back to dry land. We also have been working with DPW. We should be getting a large watershed model for non-point source pollution. And so we're hoping to bring that to Earth Day events and other events because it's a really great interactive model that both kids and adults can come and actually interact with and see how watersheds function and where some of the contributing discharges come from, especially in regards to pollutants, fertilizers, dog waste and things like that.
Awesome. So you actually are going to get that. So 3D model that, do you fill it with water or sand or?
Yeah,
Show the flow.
you set it up. You set it up. It's probably 2 feet by 3 feet or so, and it's a landscaped area with a central pond kind of in one corner. And as you set it up with different activities, you encourage people to come in and use these spray bottles to simulate the rain, and you can see how the rain washes the various things around. We can use it for addressing all sorts of different issues such as erosion around construction sites, fertilizer and agricultural inputs, industrial and like automotive inputs from parking lots and drainage structures and things like that. So it's pretty versatile and it's really cool. And I've used it in the past, and I've found that both adults and children are very kind of responsive to it. You can cater different presentations and interactive programs to whichever crowd or event you're at.
Yeah, kids would
And
just want
play-
to fill the pond. Sorry, Sue.
Flag. Do you use chocolate jimmies?
Sometimes, yeah, that sprinkles and
I-
food
I
coloring.
do.
We try to get the water in the middle of it as dirty as we can. People usually kind of recoil at what you show them when you finally drain the plug.
Aha, right. So all these foreign objects entering into the water stream. Interesting. All right.
2 last things real quick that I have. One is just an update on the MWRA utility project that came before us for the exemption. I did meet with MWRA on that slope of concern near Red Wing Bay across the street on the DCR property. We walked the site. It didn't seem to be as steep as the plans kind of suggested it was when we were out there. So we did lay out the easement and found the best route going down to avoid washout of future gravel drive and limited the number of trees and shrubs and ground cover that they'll have to disturb.
Good.
So it was a pretty successful walk on that.
Excellent.
And finally, the MACC annual conference is beginning next week. If you have any interest in signing up, it is 2 weeks long because it's still virtual. So if you'd like, I can resend out any scheduling for that tonight before I shut down the computer. But if you'd like to sign up for anything, let us know because it's coming around the corner here.
Very nice. All right. That I believe is the last item of business. So I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you, Clay.
job,
Thank you,
Peter.
everybody.
Hey,
Thank
Kate, bye, Ken. Bye, Ken, attendees.
Bye-bye.